Thanks for joining us today. We wanted to give some information about open enrollment that's coming up, the things that you need to worry about for that from your end, what to expect from us, decisions maybe that need to be made, and then some exciting news that we want to share with you as part of all of that. So I think I recognize almost everybody on here from what I saw, but my name is Amanda Clark. I'm the Employee Benefits Program Manager at MMIA. I have the rest of the EB crew on here too, so that you can put a name with a face. We have Randy Miller, who's showing up as MMIA staff, but that's Randy Miller. Okay. Chris Beskid, Alex Smetanka, and Nikki Willoughby. So you can bug them all with questions now that you know what they look like. But we'll just jump into this and get started, so we're not taking up all day for you. So first, if you've been with us at MMIA for a while, we always like to remind folks that we are a self-funded pool. We're not an insurance company. We are collectively the cities and towns together, working together, and by that, you know, we're all kind of owners of the shop. We're all minding the shop together. And I think that while we are always bringing this up, it's really kind of the most important base thing about what we do is that we're all in this together and we're all trying to do the best that we can. And so that's one of the things I love about this program, is that it really is a win-win for those that participate in it. Working together to bring quality benefits to the employees that work for cities and towns in Montana, and the cities that participate in it. So we're here for you, and that's when we bring resources and whatnot. That's why, because it really works for everybody. So when we talk about our health insurance, I just said we're not an insurance company, but who is the health plan? And with MMIA, we have a lot of different vendors and resources that we bring to the table, and I think it gets confusing for you know, even folks that deal with this quite a bit, but you know, the employees and their families that are, you know, they go to the provider, the doctor, and they're asked, well, who's your insurance? And it's a really good question. We hope they get familiar with the different resources and vendors that you can see here that we provide, but really it is the cities and towns collectively. We have 88 now participating cities and towns across the state of Montana. And besides working to keep costs down and provide good benefits and resources, you know, we get what it's like working with cities and towns, or at least we try to get what it's like. You guys get what it's like, and working together, I think, is where we can provide information and help support each other. That's pretty great. So with the employee benefits program, one of the biggest things that we've put together to emphasize that really helps stabilize our costs and help employees have a better well-being is our wellness program. So again, looking ahead, even after open enrollment, is our wellness program. And this program is so important for everybody involved. We're keeping things similar so that employees know what to expect and what to do. Hopefully they've gotten into the routine well enough that now they're ready to drag their coworkers along with them to increase participation. So we're keeping the incentives the same. Go do the biometric screening. We have a variety of options. We're working with, it starts with me to get our schedule out as soon as possible to post for you, so you can kind of save the date and put that information out there. Of course, we have the Montana Health Centers in a few locations that people can also go to. They can pick and choose where works for them. You know, maybe you have an employee that lives a little bit out of town. It's closer to another screening site. They can go to any of those that are available. We'll put those on our website. They get $50 for doing that. If 80% of the employees who are on the medical plan participate, then everybody, including spouses and retirees, gets another $50. We saw a few groups really increase that this last year. And it really, you know, besides, what I call kind of a critical mass of employees getting used to doing that and encouraging each other, a strong message from leadership can really be helpful. We're happy to help work with you if you have some ideas there to kind of be the health champion and get your employees to go in there. We do an education video and follow-up quiz. Last year, I think helped really enforce our resources with our participants and how they could access those. We saw significant increases in people engaging in those resources, which was a good thing. This year, we're working with our health coaches to talk about 3 areas of, kind of foundational health issues that can really support well-being across the board, whether there's somebody who's really in great shape at this point in their life or somebody who's really struggling with a few different issues with chronic conditions and whatnot. So something that people can really get a value and a takeaway that they can do something with. And then finally, we have the health screening review call with one of our health coaches, and we work with Take Control for this. And I can't speak highly enough of the work that they do. It's not a cookie cutter, check the box type of thing. They go over results with people to really explain what that means and then talk about some real life things that are applicable to what they can do to make improvements. And if necessary, refer them to additional resources. We've had great success with that people really get a lot of value out of. Last year, we introduced vitamin D testing into the screenings, which was really interesting. I think a lot of people really appreciated having this information. We're going to keep it this year because number one, we found that 50% of our population that did the screenings was in pretty good range for vitamin D levels. And then 50% of our population, half of our population that did the wellness screening needs to work on correcting their vitamin D. Vitamin D is so important for so many different areas of our health, and including with any COVID risks. It helps, they've shown in studies, to reduce risks or even for people to recover a little bit better if they have sufficient vitamin D levels. It's also something that's really easy to manage or correct, get some more vitamin D, especially in our northern climate. And so we're excited to see how things change after people have received this information from last year's screenings. One thing I want to point out is that we do our screenings and the education from July 1st to September 30th. But this health screening review call, we, of course, because screenings are running up to September 30th, that deadline's actually a little bit later in early November, but we're encouraging people to get scheduled as soon as they do their screening. We'll make an effort to work with as many sites as possible to encourage people right at the time of their screening to go ahead and get registered right there. Whether we can be in attendance or work with somebody who's willing to be there, we've seen that it really increases the engagement with the screening calls the follow-up calls, and even we're going to focus a little bit more on getting people to do our education portion as well. I just want to speak a little bit about retirees because we're getting a lot of folks retiring, planning for retirement, and I know that you all get some questions about this. So just to clarify, if you have an employee that's retiring, they need to submit something to us. Either they are going to stay on the benefits or some portion of the benefits. They can drop, medical or vision and keep dental. They can pick and choose from those. But if they're going to even stay right as they are and not make any other changes, just the fact that they're retiring, they need to complete a change form for us. If they're saying, see, I'm going on my spouse's plan or doing something else, then they would terminate, and you can complete the termination form. So that needs to be all submitted within 31 days of their retirement date. So if a retiree is non-Medicare, which mostly means under 65, they can stay on the plan, of course. They're going to pay the full rate that an active employee would pay. And as long as they continue to pay, they can stay on the plan. Once they become, or if upon retirement, a person is Medicare eligible, typically over 65, but there's some other conditions that might make somebody Medicare eligible. Of course, they can stay on the MMIA plan. MMIA pays as secondary to Medicare. So there's a reduced rate for that, for the individuals that are on Medicare. The other option, instead of staying on the MMIA plan, is that there's a number of Medicare Advantage plans or supplements out there in addition to Medicare Parts A and B. We encourage people to talk with a local agent to get more information about that, or even the State Insurance Assistance Program, or SHIP. There's some great advisors that can help with that. And we've even worked with Blue Cross Blue Shield to provide a sponsored Medicare Advantage plan. It's not through MMIA. We've just kind of worked with Blue Cross to make it available. There's some cool things about it. Where there might be limited availability or eligibility based on region or whatever else. That's not the case. If you're a retiree from an MMIA group, then you can participate in that plan at any point in time. And then the other thing is that it fills in the donut hole for prescription coverage, which is kind of a big deal. There's also some other features of it, vision, dental coverage, other perks and whatnot that really make it a lot more affordable for a retiree versus our plan that does give a discount, but it's not quite equipped to work as efficiently as this Medicare Advantage plan. So for people that have questions about it, we have a whole section on our webpage for retirees where there's a webinar that walks them through it. There's some other resources. You can encourage folks to go there to get some of the information that they need. We will be sending out retiree rate letters directly to retirees with renewal for any changes or updates with that, just letting them know as of July 1st what their costs will be. So we will send you a copy of those letters when we do that. So speaking of open enrollment, just giving you kind of an overview of our timeline. We are getting ready. We're collecting our information all through January for getting an early rate indication out to you by mid-February, or next Tuesday, we'll be sending that out. For our program agreements outline how our program needs to be analyzed and fit all the moving pieces together. So we need notification for any groups that have been with the program for longer than 5 years, if they do intend to leave the program, so that we can account for that in setting our final rates. We'll set our final rates towards the end of March. So we are basically guaranteeing we'll get them to you by early April, hopefully before that. And once you have that final information, we're asking for you to return your group election forms to us by April 14th. That is the opportunity that you have to say, you know what, we've been offering the Madison plan, but now we want to open it up to the menu. Or, you know, we've never offered dental before, but I think we want to do that this year. Let's elect dental. It's also the time period that you can say, you know what, we've been requiring employees to wait 30 days to start their benefits after they get hired. We want to move it up to the date of hire. Those type of things that you can make those changes and get them submitted to us. And then once we have all of that information in, we can open it up for open enrollment to individuals, so that we can say, here's what your city or town is offering, and you can make your benefit elections for July 1st coming up. That's from May 15th to June 15th. We encourage people to get them in before June 15th. If you want to tell your employees, hey, these forms are due June 8th, and that gives you a week before you need to get everything into us. And when I say forms, it's all online now. So it gives you time to have everything turned in and review everything before we need to process it. Speaking of which, no more paper forms. Like I said, it's all online. Not just the individual forms, but the group election forms are there too. If you go to our website, MMIAEB.net, /forms, you can find all that information there. The nice thing about these online forms is that it's going to walk you through all the things that you need to fill out instead of trying to figure out what goes where and how to fill it out. It'll give you the options you need. It'll kind of walk you through that process. But especially for employees, we have it customized so that if they're from one city that offers dental versus another that doesn't, it know which options to give the employee to help them make sure that their enrollment is complete. Really important for anything other than a termination. there's going to be a copy of that that goes to you that you need to approve so that we're on the same page. You're deducting from payroll correctly. We've got them enrolled correctly. It's a double check to make sure that we have everything correct. If you have any questions about any of this, first of all, Nikki's here, but Nikki's super available and helpful for that. She's been the whiz that makes all the magic happen behind the scenes and can answer any questions you have on that. So please get a hold of her if you have any questions on that. Few reminders about enrollment in general, not just for open enrollment, but this is a good chance to catch up on some of that. If you're allowing elected officials to participate, number one, we need to have a copy of the resolution on hand, which I think we do for most members. But if there's an elected official that maybe gets elected out of office or, decides to vacate their seat, or an employee that's no longer working, we need to get those terminations submitted within 31 days of that. Otherwise, there's federal regulations that prevent us from retro rescission of those benefits, where we could end up in a situation where we need payment for benefits that shouldn't have been there in the first place. So just a reminder to get those turned in. What you got to remember from this slide is 31. Same thing with newborns. Newborns are not automatically enrolled. If an employee or a spouse of an employee has a baby, we can get them added to coverage. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a delay waiting for a social security number or something. With a newborn, we can go ahead and get them added and go back and fill that information if needed. So please get those turned in. Remind anybody that's expecting or having that, new addition to the family coming up, that they're prepared to get the baby added if they do want coverage for the baby. And one thing that gets a little bit confusing for anybody that has a waiting period or benefit probationary period of longer than 31 days, we're having some groups that are waiting to get the benefits submitted. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. We need to have the enrollment within 31 days of the date of hire. And then when benefits become effective, they'll become effective upon the completion of the waiting period, but it's the qualifying event truly is the date of hire. And so we need it within 31 days of that date of hire. So when you get an employee in, have them make their benefit decisions right when they start, and we'll get that all set up and squared away so that it's effective upon your waiting period requirements. One more thing that is a little bit tricky, because we're only as good as the information that we have, and employees might not tell you all the things going on in their world, or maybe they're overwhelmed with some of the things going on in their world. But divorced spouses cannot be on the coverage. They need to be terminated. Some people, have kind of maybe worked something out. We see here and there where, oh, well, I'm supposed to provide coverage for my ex-spouse, but unfortunately, they're not eligible to be on the plan. So if you hear of anything about that, we need to make sure that gets cleaned up within the 31 days of that divorce determination as well. And we realize sometimes that doesn't flow through like it's supposed to, but just a reminder to keep that on track too. Just looking at my crew, am I missing anything so far? Nobody wants to speak up? What?
I think you're good.
As part of open enrollment, again, in that timeline, once we have final rates figured out, you've sent in your benefit elections on the group election online form. We will send out, just prior to open enrollment for employees, a web key. The web key will go into a USB port on the computer. It doesn't actually have anything on there. It redirects the computer to our website. So our website will have all of the information that they need on there. So technically they don't need the web key, but regulation wise, we have to send something to everybody. This is the most effective way for us to do that. So they can either type in our website address and go to our open enrollment page, or plug in the web key. If they aren't able to access our website, they don't have internet access, something goes awry, they can contact us and we can send a paper copy to them. That's going to all be included on the web key information. But this will be the information on notices that we're required to send, updates on wellness coming up for the next year, any plan information. What it doesn't have is rates that may be specific to your group. So we ask you to distribute your rates, and part of that is we do have some variations across the pool, but more so, people are going to want to know how much the city is going to contribute on their behalf, because that's an important part of their decision making. So you can present that to them as far as the costs and the contribution that they get for their position as well. So that will be going out early May. Well, my buttons here. So the big new thing that we have to talk about is an exciting program that our pharmacy benefit manager, or PBM, has brought to us. We work with Proact to process our prescription claims. And we are seeing prescription costs increase at a rate that is higher than medical increases. So while medical is still a larger portion of our costs, prescription costs are increasing faster. Overall, we're seeing prescription costs increase about 10%, 9 to 10%, where for medical, we're more like 7 to 9%. So a little bit higher on the prescription overall. The biggest component of that is specialty medications, and these medications are very, very expensive. We've seen that grown to be about 57% of the total spend in our claims usage at MMIA. That's, I'm sorry, 57% of the prescription spend, I should say. So that's pretty huge. It's more than half of the prescription costs, but it's only 1.7% of the actual claims or scripts that come through. So for all of the prescriptions that we pay for, only 1.7% of them are accounting for 57% of the cost. And that just, it blows my mind every time I think about that or see that pop up. So how do we get control over that? Well, Proact has brought to us a new package of services called Proact Plus. And they will be providing services as a kind of a package deal, working mostly behind the scenes to find savings opportunities for everybody in the program. And when the program saves, individuals are going to save out of pocket as well. It's going to be very managed. So it's not a responsibility necessarily put off on a participant. Proact is going to take the lead on that effort and coordination. A lot of it will happen without even anybody knowing. It might be a participant showing up at the pharmacy going, oh, well, this is cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So that ends up being a good deal, right? We have 3 components of that: the specialty assistance, international mail order, and a copay optimization program. So let me explain a little bit more about what each of those things are. And they're not entirely new, all over the place here. So it's kind of actually what we've already been doing. We're just kind of leveling up or taking it to the next level of what some of these services are going to entail. So for specialty, like I said, huge amount of costs. It's very few people across the program that are taking these medications, but it's really expensive, important life-saving medications that they're taking. So we've been getting some copay assistance where Proact has been able to find some of that out there, and this assistance has taken a share of that. This special program or specialty assistance is finding additional resources to contribute to that funding. And by that, I mean, there might be a manufacturer's assistance program out there, or even a nonprofit or foundation that provides financial assistance for some of these medications, where this is happening all across the industry, where they are going to add to the opportunities for us, but also increase the savings that we get, where right now it's a portion of the savings. The majority of what they will be doing is covering all of the specialty costs for those that apply to this. And because of that, it will save on out-of-pocket costs for those individuals. They'll have no copay for prescriptions that go through that. So we're already doing some of that copay optimization or copay assistance, like I mentioned, with specialty medications. But the new part of this service is that the copay optimization they will be doing will be expanded to some brand name medications. And some of these brand name medications that are not specialty can still cost several $100s. And there's insulins that unfortunately don't have a generic alternative. Some very expensive inhalers. All sorts of things across the board don't fall into that specialty category, but now we can get some assistance to find copay help where it's going to cut down on the cost to the program and to the participant. Sometimes no copay at all for some of these very expensive medications. We're currently offering an international mail order prescription option, which again is a huge savings. Currently, we're using MMIA scripts. This new program will all be part of Proact. So Proact will facilitate and coordinate this effort. Additionally, this mail order will have other options that we haven't been able to get currently, where some temperature sensitive medications, even specialty medications, might be able to go through this program. So again, just expanding the opportunities for that through this international mail order. So a lot of the same things, but we are simplifying how that works by having Proact manage most of that behind the scenes on a really one-on-one assistance type of thing. Like I said as well, if not also behind the scenes where a participant doesn't even need to get involved in any of it to take advantage of some of that. So part of this new service is that it requires all of our plan options to be on a flat copay. So anybody on this call that was invited to this webinar today is currently offering a percentage prescription benefit, meaning it goes with the medical benefits of the deductible, the co-insurance, and whatnot. So you can see on here, we currently have the deductibles and co-insurance amounts listed out for how it currently is set up. The medical will stay the same, but we're changing the prescription copay for your group, where instead of sharing in the cost of that drug, depending on what the pricing is, it'll be a flat copay, $4 for generic, $20 for brand. There might be a few that are non-preferred brands that might be $50, but it doesn't matter the cost of the drug. It's this flat copay. So that's a huge savings. The high deductible plan, it's going to stay the same. The high deductible plan, everything has to apply to the deductible in order to be HSA qualified according to the IRS. So that will remain the same. They have it all set up for high deductible stuff, but the other plans we need to move to the copay. So what does that mean for your group? Because we've always presented the options of the copay, but it's a much more expensive benefit, right? So the price difference between the percentage benefit that you have been getting and the copay option is 16%. That's quite a jump for us to say, hey, we're changing your benefit. No, we are not increasing your rate. Your employees will get a better benefit when they go to the pharmacy. And we are giving that to your group at the same pricing level that you're currently at. So everything else aside, this change means better benefit for employees, no increased cost for the rates, whether that's covered by the city or the participant has some come out of their payroll that they contribute towards. That will all stay the same from this plan. So what I need to let you know is that the rate adjustment that we have each year is separate. So we may have a base rate adjustment due to just claim fluctuation trends, like I said, in the medical side of things that will still apply. That will be determined by the board in our March board meeting after our actuary does analysis. But what we've found is that with this program, the savings from the Proact Plus program will outweigh the cost adjustment required to make this benefit consolidation. So we're consolidating the benefits that we're offering to a limited, one prescription option across the board, but we're giving it to everybody at the lower rate. So there's a little bit of a cost to doing that, but the cost of doing that will be offset and even more so outweighed by this Proact Plus program. So we're getting some savings to the program. We're getting some better advantages to some folks out-of-pocket costs, and your group will be getting a bump in their benefit on out-of-pocket expenses. So I kind of said this already, but oops, went too far. I'll go back. So we really took a hard look at this to see, what was needed. We have to consolidate those benefits all together. But it is standalone where, if the board looks at everything and says, hey, we don't need to do any rate adjustment like we did last year, then your rates will stay the same with this added benefit. If they decide, hey, we need to do a 2 or 4% rate adjustment, that's from other things outside of this Proact Plus implementation and the greater benefit given to just your benefit group that has been offering something different. And then we'll apply that base rate adjustment. We'll let you know about that, as I said, at the end of March or early April. So there's a lot of information and pieces of this Proact Plus program. What I would say at this point is that you are more than welcome to share with employees or participants of the program that they will be getting a better prescription benefit starting July 1st that won't be an impact to rates. Of course, when we send out the open enrollment information or even the rates information to you, it will show the enhanced benefit and the rates according to that. So that information will be available that you can provide to employees at that time. Like I said, you can let them know now, but we just don't have the final rate information to combine with that. And then, of course, updated plan document information will be available from our website with the web key. And we'll be working with Proact. Any individuals that may be eligible for additional savings from the Proact Plus program, we'll be coordinating with Proact to make sure that we have a smooth transition in that. This is meant to add on and improve the cost of the drugs. Again, what we can do behind the scenes, if there is anything that we need to work with employees to get any information, we will be working through that with Proact to make that again a smooth transition. And of course, there shouldn't be any disruption or interruption of benefits or receiving prescriptions. Just a process again of improving the funding for those expensive costs. So with that, do we have any questions about this? And well, let me just say that we will be sending out a little bit more information on this benefit change that is not a cost impact to your group, just about how that works and what that looks like. We can follow up after this if we have your name to send you an email with that information, and then we'll include it with our early rate indication that comes out next week as well. And then, of course, if you or anybody else in your group has questions about this, we're happy to meet and discuss, go over any of that information. We are actually recording this presentation as well, in case you want to look back at it and go over anything that we've brought up today. I did such a good job that everybody's either excited and speechless or nodded off because it's benefit stuff.
Speechless.
I'm going to stop sharing here so I can see.
Yeah, there's no questions in the chat box.
Okay. Well, I mean, overall, it's good news. You know, we're keeping things the same. We're on track for our normal process. You guys happen to be getting a better benefit, which is a great thing. So hopefully that helps all employees in your group, actually, because it should cut down on prescription expenses for any prescriptions, but especially those really expensive brand names or specialty medications. Really taking a break on those. Well, thank you so much for taking time to join us today. Like I said, let us know. You know how to get a hold of us for anything that comes up.